Welcome to the show, Artemis.
Thank you.
So, do you have a clean date?
Right now it's December 8th of 23. I did have a relapse after 10 years sober, so had to
Oh,
change the date.
so yeah, you have some time then. What was going on like December 7th of 2023?
Well, I had a relapse for a couple years. I had my son taken away while I was not drinking due to a lie from a narcissistic, abusive ex-husband. A lie that worked very well in the courts. So he was successful, and I got my custody taken from my youngest son, and so I kind of went off the rails.
Well, I don't even blame you for that. That's quite a traumatic thing to happen.
Yeah, it was a pain I just couldn't cope with at the
Yeah.
time.
How old was your son when
He
that
was
happened?
he was 9 at the time.
So not even old enough to like make his own decision.
No, but he was convinced. He was convinced that he didn't want to be with me. He was convinced that I was a danger to him by his father.
Well, let's
His
backtrack. Where are you
Yeah,
from?
Colorado, Denver.
Colorado.
But I live in Aurora.
Okay. What
Yeah.
is this? Oh, I used to listen to a band called Aurora.
Okay.
They were pop punk.
Very nice.
And they were from Aurora, Colorado. So that's awesome.
We'll have to check
I,
them out.
I've had somebody on the show that was from Denver, and she was homeless living in Denver, which
Okay.
I feel like is the last place you want to be homeless besides Alaska with the weather and everything. So you grew up in
Yeah.
Colorado. Are you the only one, or do you have brothers and sisters?
I have a sister who was adopted from China, but I was 19 when she was adopted, so I do consider myself an only child. I was already moved out and married and all that by the time she came, so I grew up as an only child. And she has been convinced by my mother not to speak to me, so we don't have a relationship.
So your parents had empty nest syndrome and decided to adopt a baby when they had the house back to being themselves.
My mom definitely didn't have empty nest syndrome. She always wanted another girl. It just took years for her to be able to get another girl. She had she has a disease that doesn't allow her to get pregnant again. It would have killed her. I almost killed her. So the only way to have another baby was to adopt, and it takes years to do that. So
It's like Mikey, my wife,
yeah,
where where she gave birth and they had to tie her tubes right away because she almost died from Dominic, our son.
yeah.
Um, so you got married at 19, you said. Um,
And 22 and 26. I had a problem saying no.
well, when did you start drinking?
15.
15. Was it like just at parties, or how did you get introduced to alcohol?
I never went to parties. I drank with my parents. Behind their back first, but then with them.
Now, are you only recovering from alcohol, or is there any other substances that you're recovering from?
After they took my kids, I became a full-blown drug addict. So I'm now recovering from heroin, fentanyl, methamphetamines, and alcohol.
That's quite the cocktail.
Yeah.
Were you introduced to any of those drugs as a kid or a teenager?
No, none.
It just you had a case of the fuckets once you lost custody of your son.
Yeah, anything in front of me, I did. I was like, well, I might as well do it all. I lost my fucking time. Like, might as well try some shit. I didn't care anymore about anything. I didn't care about my life. Um, I didn't I didn't have any my depression was so bad. I also suffer from severe mental health. It's a big part of my recovery story. Um, it has to be number one in my recovery over my addiction recovery, or I don't have a shot at sobriety. And it was it wasn't I wasn't treated well, and my depression was bigger than anything, and I was damn near suicidal. So what was the point of caring?
Now, did you go through like AA or NA the first time?
I started recovery in AA when I was 19. Did AA for 4 years, switched over to Cocaine Anonymous CA at 4 years sober because I was introduced by someone and I fell in love with the people and the program and stayed there for the remainder of my 11 years.
I love
Um,
CA. I mean,
CA
it's
is
CA.
all mind altering substances, and it uses the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous in the
Yeah,
same 12 steps without changing it.
my
I
first
love
ever
that
meeting was
program.
CA.
It has way cooler people in it, in
Yeah,
my opinion. Um, Better than NA, better than AA. If I did work 12 steps, currently I do recovery dharma, and it's far superior for me as a mental health patient and somebody who needs something very trauma informed and non-judgmental, as I also have to use ulterior medications for my mental health.
yeah. CA is I like CA a lot. When I first got sober, it was out in Los Angeles, and CA is a huge meeting out there because of crack cocaine epidemic. And I would go to this meeting every Saturday, 8 o'clock. I was just talking about this last night with someone. I met him in that meeting. He's been on my show twice now. We call him Skinny Vinny, and
Okay.
I met him at a CA meeting that was right off Sepulveda in LA. And it was like this big church, and there was like 250 people packed in there every Saturday at 8. It was fucking awesome. And I always had a great time in the parking lot. I had a great time in the meeting. The message was so raw and real. Like, I'm in a NA group right now where it's a lot of recovering crack addicts, and their messages daily really hit me harder than going to AA.
Yes, I find AA to be very judgmental,
It is.
very harsh, very much drink our Kool-Aid or you're going to die.
Yep.
If you don't do it my way, you're going to die.
I
Like
couldn't
very
even talk
culty.
about myself in AA. My problem with AA is I'm an alcoholic, right? I am an alcoholic, and I
Mhm.
completely submit to that. But I'm also a drug addict. I loved weed. I loved benzos. I loved downers, opiates, cocaine, acid. You name a drug, I probably loved it. And in AA, I couldn't talk about any of those things. They only want to hear about your problems related to alcohol. It's part of their literature that they read. Every meeting is we keep your conversations confined to alcohol, and
Sure.
when I'm in NA, they literally state alcohol is a drug. Period. And
Yes.
I can talk about alcohol, but I can talk about all the drugs because I'm clean now 5 months, and
Congratulations.
thank you. But I have a bunch of different sober dates, right? I'm clean from opiates over 6 years. I'm clean from alcohol for 4.5 years, and I got 5 months away from benzos and weed. And I don't judge anybody that uses marijuana in their recovery because it was a very helpful thing for me. I wouldn't have gotten off opiates if it wasn't for marijuana. But when my dad passed last June is when I really started to ramp up my smoking, where I was smoking all day, every day. And I wasn't smoking as a medicine, I was smoking as an escape. And that's where the problem lied.
Yes. I
So,
I do use medical marijuana or cannabis. I call it cannabis now
yeah,
because for me, when it was marijuana, it was to get high.
yeah,
So I use the word cannabis now. Um, I never got
you.
high. I never used it as marijuana in my life. I tried it as marijuana in high school, hated the high, never used it. 5 years ago, they wanted to do electroshocks therapy on me. And I said, fuck you. You're not shocking me. And my therapist said, you can try microdosing mushrooms and marijuana and see if that works. And so I started smoking cannabis and microdosing mushrooms, and it worked for my mental health. So I've been doing that for 5 years. When my depression from bipolar 2 hits, microdosing pulls me right out of it.
I'm
For my
bipolar 2 too.
fibromyalgia, yeah, for my borderline personality mood disorder and my fibromyalgia pain, cannabis can keep it level. It boosts my Western medications, which I do take, my regular pills and medications for. But it takes a blend of everything for me with my mental health. It takes therapy, medications, alternative medications for me to consistently, do on time every day, and every week with therapy, that I can never stop any of it or I end up back in a psych ward.
Shit, I didn't take my meds yet today. Thanks for reminding me.
You're welcome. Do it.
I just realized that. I'll do it after this.
Yes.
I'll be okay for a little bit. It's just blood pressure. Um, as I drink 3 cups of coffee and now a Celsius drink, it's just blood pressure that I have to contain. I take my mental health meds at night because they make me sleepy, and I
Yeah.
have severe insomnia, like diagnosed severe insomnia.
Yeah, I
So
take meds at morning and at night. I think I take 12 different medications total between my fibromyalgia, my migraine disorder, and my mental health.
I
And
had
it
a
sounds
bad migraine
insane,
last week. I had to
but
go to the doctors and they gave me one of those injections for your migraine that they like
yeah.
stick in your shoulder and it hurts like hell.
I have strokes with my migraines.
Do you really?
So I take a preventative medication and I don't get them anymore
Oh, that's
with
good.
that and the mushrooms. But um, yeah, but so I do have a couple alternative medications as part of my recovery. And again, in recovery dharma, that's actually very common. And so it's not judged at all. The other thing is that I have process addictions. And in recovery dharma, it's a holistic program. So mental health is part of recovery dharma. So are things like eating and things like spending and workaholism are all part of recovery dharma. So you can be any of those things and you fit in recovery dharma. They even have meetings for them. They have mindful eating meetings that I go to for my binge eating. So it's very helpful for me because it treats me as a holistic person and all the things behaviors that I struggle with, not just substances. And it has allowed me to make changes in my life in all the areas. So I can now take care of myself with my ADHD and, shower every day and do my laundry. I now am walking and paying attention to my eating. Um, I'm able to stay out of relationships and focus on myself and not be codependent. Things like that have all been attributed to recovery dharma in my recovery from alcohol and drugs.
No, your codependency that I have anything to do with being married 3 times when you were younger.
Absolutely.
So you were 19 when you first got married. How did you meet him?
High school.
Okay, so you both were 19?
Yes. No, yes. I was 18, he was 19 when we got married. I was 19, he was 20 when we got divorced.
So I was just going to ask how long it lasted.
8 months, but the relationship lasted 3 years and 8 months.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't clash.
My alcoholism ruined that relationship very quickly. I became very abusive and blackouts and would hit him.
So you were drinking mostly alone in high school. You weren't like going to parties and shit.
Never went to a single party.
See, I
I
was
would
the
invite
opposite.
friends to my house to make myself feel normal about
Yeah.
my drinking, but I was an alcoholic from the first time I drank. I blacked out.
That was my next question because like I was an alcoholic when I was 12. And it wasn't that I was drinking every night when I was 12. It was
What happened?
I was drinking because of I got bullied at school. I was mad at somebody's. I wasn't feeling heard. And you know what I mean? Like I was drinking for the effect, not for fun.
Exactly. Same
So,
here. I was drinking because I wanted that feeling. I wanted to escape my feelings.
yeah.
I wanted to numb. I wanted to get rid of my panic attacks. I grew up having a minimum of 10 panic attacks a day from the age of 3 to 24 years old. Even sober, I was having 10 panic attacks a day till 24. And I couldn't live a normal life. I was bound to these panic attacks, even in recovery, till the age of 24 with a 2-year-old son. If my husband went to work, I had to leave the house and go to my parents. I couldn't stay home alone. I couldn't walk from my car to the front door without calling someone. I couldn't do anything alone, be home alone, walk anywhere alone, anything. It was a very shackled and chained life that I lived for a very, very long time. And alcohol would fix that.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And when you moved out when you were 18, you just brought the drinking habit with you.
Absolutely. Then was free to drink how I wanted to drink. I could drink every day, and I did. I didn't live with my parents anymore. I didn't have to hide it anymore. I didn't have to steal their liquor anymore.
Yeah. So what happens when you get divorced at 19? Did you move back or did you get
I
your own place?
moved back at home for a brief period of time before getting my own studio. Yeah. And then I met my second husband, married him, had a kid, got divorced after moving into our house that we bought, left him. Um, Unfortunately, met my third husband, got married, had my second son. Luckily, got out of that abusive, horrific relationship. He raped me 2 years after our divorce. Um, Told me it wasn't rape because I used to be his wife. Um, but I was sober through all that.
So I was going to ask you, did you obviously it sounds like you quit drinking when you were pregnant?
Oh, I quit. I was sober through everything. I got sober at 19, remember? And I stayed sober for 10 years.
Oh, okay. So
So I
this
was
was
sober from 19 to 30.
oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so I got sober at 19 when after the first husband and I divorced. And I stayed sober until after the abusive husband and I divorced. And once I left him, he had isolated me from everyone in recovery, wasn't allowed to go to meetings, had isolated me from all my friends. I had no tools left, no nothing, was isolated from everything in the world. And I couldn't get it back. I tried to go back to meetings. I tried, and everyone I knew was gone. And I couldn't get back to fit in. And I felt so alone, and it caused me to relapse. And yeah, that's what happened.
So was he sober too? Is that how like you isolate? No, he wasn't.
He tried to convince me he was sober when we met. That's on the basis that we met, but he was hiding drinking the entire time we were together. He later showed me where he hid all the bottles in the garage. Yeah.
Yeah, had a secret stash.
Yeah.
And I can identify with the hiding stuff. I used to hide pills all over the place. Um, because that's part of my story is pills. And
Yeah.
I had like hiding spots all over when I lived with my dad and brother where hopefully they wouldn't find them. And like I had one hiding spot that was inside of my recliner. You know how like recliners you can kind of like dig in the sides and all that kind
Yeah.
of. I had a pill bottle stuffed with a napkin so you wouldn't hear the rattle, and I would stick that in the side of my recliner so that only I could reach down and grab it and pull it out. And I had a little straw in there, and I had my pills in there, and like I said, a tissue pushed all the way down this way the pills wouldn't rattle if somebody like leaned back on the recliner. And when I was just by myself, I would take them out, do a line, put them back away again, and I needed to have pills around me at all times. And because I was a full fledged pill addict, you
That
know,
was me and alcohol. And I wasn't very good at hiding it. I didn't really give a fuck who knew when I was drinking. I just surrounded myself with other drinkers. That was my MO, is finding the people who were like me when I was drinking and making sure that I was surrounded with other people who drank like me so that I didn't have to hide.
Yeah.
I drank a fifth a day from morning to night, and then a box of wine at night after that. And that was daily. I started at 8 a.m. when I woke up, and I didn't finish till I fell asleep.
Did you have to go through some alcohol withdrawals when you quit?
Yeah, I had DTs and seizures even in a medical detox.
I was just going to ask you if you had any kind of seizures, because I'm in a ton of recovery groups on Facebook, and somebody posted last night, and they were like, and it was in a recovery meme page, like a drug addict humor page, and somebody posted, because people post besides memes, and they were like, I just quit drinking, a 30-pack a day, and I'm going to try to stop. What should I do? And everyone's like, go to the
Go to
ER.
a hospital.
Go to the everyone. Like, there was like 50 comments in the first 20 minutes, and every single comment, including mine, was go to the ER. It's not to fuck around with. This shit can kill you. Like, it's people don't realize, like, alcohol and benzos are the two worst things to
They
come
will
off.
kill you if you withdraw wrong.
Yeah.
Yes.
Without being properly medicated and without like people looking after you, you literally can die.
I quit once on my own and had DTs in my house on the floor. And my dog decided that he was going to be smart for once. He's an idiot. He doesn't know commands. He's so adorable. He's a Chihuahua Jack Russell mix. So he's like a big Chihuahua.
Uh-huh.
And he pawed my face until he decided he was going to slide my phones from 6 feet away from me to me. And he did. And he pawed my face until he heard me on the phone with 911. He saved my life.
That's awesome. Dogs are amazing.
I've had him for 10 years. His back legs are giving out, which means I only probably have 2-3 years with him. Because, when dogs start going downhill, they don't come back. He is 12. I'm going to be devastated when I lose him. But I will have to get another dog. I can't be without one.
Yeah.
But
we had to put down my family
it's going to
dog.
be human food and spoiling for the next 3 years. He gets whatever he wants now.
We just put down our black lab a couple of weeks ago. My mom did on 4th of July, actually. We had a black lab that was 13. And her back legs, she couldn't even walk up steps anymore. The nails were so ingrown that we couldn't even get them cut properly. And she was just completely uncomfortable. And she was miserable.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, it's time. It's a 100-pound dog. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit different than Jack Russell Chihuahua. They have a little more life in them because they're not as big. And my mom was like, I don't know what to do. Like, my dad passed away a year ago, so my mom has to make this decision. And me, my brother, and my sister were like, Mom, it's time. You can, like, she almost needed permission from us as a family. Like, Mom, you can put her down.
To help reassure her it's time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that I will put him down instead of let him suffer, but I will need support that day. And I know for a fact, like, I move home in 15 days from my sober living. And so I'll get to be with him again, and my cat will both come home with me. And I'm going to spoil them because I haven't been the best dog mom. I wouldn't take him out, so he'd have accidents in the house always. I never got mad at him. He never got in trouble for him, ever.
Yeah.
Because I always knew it was my fault. But, like, he never got taken out enough. He never got walked. He never got, and he would just, he got snuggled and he got loved. But so he wasn't like abused or anything, but I consider there to have been some neglect of his normal needs. And so I plan on spoiling him and walking him and going on long walks and giving him some human food, spoiling him that way a little bit whenever I'm eating something he can have, like some chicken or whatever.
You could get a dog in the meantime too.
He doesn't like other dogs.
Oh, okay.
And I don't want to do that to him. I don't want to. He likes to be the only one getting the attention. He loves his sister, the cat, because she leaves him alone.
Yeah.
But, they'll cuddle butt to butt when no one's looking, but that's about it. They leave each other alone, so they love each other because of that.
Yeah, we have 2 cats,
They've
and
been together 10 years, so they have a good understanding with each other.
yeah, and
But he
mutual respect.
doesn't, other dogs just really, I think, annoy the fuck out of him. So I'm going to let him have his space, and then I'll get another dog when he's gone. But I plan on spoiling him for the last couple years.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
How did you discover recovery dharma? Because it's not something that you hear about often. I'm just now learning about recovery dharma. How did you discover recovery dharma?
I'd heard about it. I don't know where I first heard about it. I just heard about it off and on throughout the years. I couldn't tell you, honestly. I couldn't tell you how long ago and where I first heard about it because it's salt and peppered throughout my recovery. I've heard about it.
So, did you get into it last December?
I knew I had made my decision before I even got sober that I was going to try recovery dharma this time. I knew I wasn't going back to CA this time, that I wasn't going to 12-step. I knew for a fact that I was going to try recovery dharma.
What was that reasoning?
That 12 steps was no longer working for me and I had grown past it. That I needed something different because it was no longer working for me. I'd done the steps and like 8 times. I'd sponsored at least 20 women that were still 12 years sober. I'd run my course with it. I needed something that was going to be new and different for me and my recovery and teach me something different and new. And I needed something more trauma informed. And somebody had told me that it was very much trauma informed and also worked with mental health. And that's what got me. Because my mental health does come before my recovery. And I know that in most cases, recovery needs to be number one. But in my story, mental health must be number one, or I don't have a shot at recovery. My mental health is that severe. I will end up in a crisis stabilization unit hospital or a mental ward if I don't take care of my recovery or my recovery from mental health first.
Yeah.
Then comes my addiction recovery. But I
That
don't have a
makes a lot of
shot
sense.
at addiction recovery if I'm not sane. You know,
Yeah, that makes a lot of
I
sense.
struggle from actual bouts of psychosis if I'm not on my meds and I'm not,
And
I
people
have
don't realize what that's like. I
I break from reality. Like,
Yeah, I never had any kind of psychosis bouts, but my first fiance was bipolar, schizophrenic,
so you've
and
seen it.
oh, I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it firsthand. I mean, she lost her life to that disease. She
Yeah.
committed suicide about 9 years ago,
Yeah.
and she just couldn't do it anymore. There would be times where she would wake me up at like 3 in the morning, and she's like, "Who's paying you to be with me? Why are you even with me?" And start like flipping out, hitting me, and not knowing why I was there. Like she thought people were watching her and I have seen crazy bouts of psychosis, and it was always
Yeah.
under her control.
My breaks from reality are very minor. My psychosis is very minor and I'm very aware of it. I'll be like, wow, I'm feeling dissociated. I need to go, I need to get into the doctor and adjust my meds kind of deal. Um, it's more like I'll get hyper vigilant and I'll get very hyper and think that I'm a little more powerful than I am. Because I'm like a crystal healer and I do stuff like that. I'll start to think that I'm like better at that stuff than I really am, or that I'm a little more, I'm just kind of untouchable, a little bit egotistical, things like that. But I don't fully break from reality or go into true psychosis, so to speak. Um, I just get, I just get a little bit out there, and It just affects my ability to do daily life very well. All my ADD will take over and I won't be able to function and do my laundry. I'll forget to shower every day. My depression will come in and render me useless where I can't get out of bed, things like that. So,
I
um,
think recovery dharma definitely sounds like the best place for you then, with all the mental health stuff you have going on, because
yeah,
you've already proven to yourself that you can go without alcohol or drugs because you did that for most of your 20s, if not all your 20s.
yeah,
So you kind of already proved to that. And so why go back into CA when drugs aren't your problem anymore? It's your thinking.
yeah. It's maintaining taking my meds every day and going to therapy and making sure that I put myself first and take care of myself and don't overeat and go for my walks and live a healthy middle way life that isn't too exciting or depressing.
So
And
you
Dharma's good at the middle road.
that makes me wonder. So in CA, you said you sponsored people. Now, what is a sponsor like in recovery dharma?
We call it a mentor. It's very similar. They take you through the inquiry work, which is like the inventory or the 12 steps of 12 step, but
Yep.
we call it inquiry. There's questions after every chapter that you answer, that you dive deep into. It's very deep work, almost deeper than the 12 steps, quite deeper. It's very extensive. There's a lot of questions. It'll take a couple years to get through. Um, it's by no mean a fast thing. Um, and we also do it in groups. You can do an inquiry group instead of having a mentor, or you can just do it with a buddy, a wise buddy, another person in recovery. You don't have to have a mentor. I do mentor 4 women, and then I run a inquiry group with 5 other women that we do it together. And then I have a mentor. So I do my inquiry pretty much alone, and then do it with run it through my mentor, and then I run it through with my inquiry group, and they use my work as the example for them to go off of when we do our work there. So that's kind of how I'm doing it. So I'm accountable to 6 other people for my work.
That's awesome. That
Yeah, because
it
I
definitely
really
is.
want to be accountable.
Yeah.
You know, I fully don't want to do it alone. And I want women in my life, and so my inquiry group is all women that we can get close to and be intimate with each other in that work.
It's almost like the same unwritten rule that if you're a woman in sobriety looking for a sponsor, you
You
should
look for women, yeah.
you should probably
My
look.
mentor is a man, but
Okay.
he's an older gentleman who's got many, many, many years of experience mentoring and running mentoring groups. And because I'm running a group, I wanted his expertise. And because he has that many years mentoring, I wanted his expertise.
Yeah.
He's not somebody to worry about being a predator in any way, shape, or form. He's just not that guy.
What we
So
call a
I felt
13 stepper.
right. He didn't seek me out. I asked him.
Yeah.
Um, Listening to him in meetings, watching how he was. He's a very big. I mean, he was asked to facilitate half of the global Sangha meetings. He's
What's the
very,
Sangha meeting?
a Sangha meeting is a meeting. Like we call a meeting a Sangha. Sangha is the word for community or group in Buddhism.
Okay.
So that's what a Sangha is like our group, our family, our meeting.
I'm still learning about all this and the differences because I've been in recovery 6 years. And when I was in Los Angeles, I went to mostly AA. I would go to like that one CA meeting a week. I would go to 2 NA meetings a week. And I'm talking I was going to 20 a week in AA. I would go
Yeah.
every day at noon. I would go every day at 7 or 8, and then I would go every night at 11. and everyone says do 90 and 90. I literally did 250 and 90.
Yeah, I've done that before.
And like I
I
was,
did that with Dharma this time.
yeah, which
I
makes
did.
sense because there's a lot of meetings, right?
Yes, online you can go many times a day. Most of it's virtual because it's such a baby program. It's only 5 years old. Now it's really older if you think about refuge recovery started however long ago. But Noah Levine, who started refuge recovery, had questionable behavior. And so the board broke off and started recovery Dharma 5 years ago. So recovery Dharma itself is 5 years old, technically. But we've been around in Buddhist recovery a lot longer than that.
Oh, okay. So that's
It
probably
just
what
used to be called recovery or refuge
refuge
recovery
recovery.
and was started by Noah Levine. But the board and everybody broke away from him and his refuge recovery because of his behavior, which became predatory.
I've heard of refuge recovery, and I've learned a lot about recovery dharma in the last 6 months. And I definitely think it's cool. Um,
But
and
she's very, very good at it. I'll tell you that.
who?
Mikey.
Oh, yeah,
She's kicking ass.
yeah. I was just talking to her, and she's like, I just facilitated the meeting. And the other day, I facilitated my NA meeting, and then
Mm-hmm.
we both facilitated meetings on the same day.
Mm-hmm.
And we felt good about ourselves as like a couple, as a unit,
Yes, because
because
you're doing different programs. I think that's very healthy.
yeah,
I think it's very healthy because there's no way you guys are going to get in each other's program. You
yeah,
can't because you're not even in the same program. There's something very healthy about that.
yeah. In her, I recorded with her. Her episode came out, and I literally was learning about recovery dharma for the first time because we don't overstep our boundaries when it comes to, well, what is this, how is this, why is this, like I don't hammer her with questions about her recovery because I can see whatever is working for her is definitely working because I see a change in her.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to feel like I'm questioning her or questioning it. So I try not to ask too many questions. I can just give her like attaboys when she's like, oh, I'm facilitating or I'm speaking today or I'm doing this or that. I'm writing my inquiry. I have an inquiry group. I'm meeting with my mentor and all that kind of stuff. I kind of respectfully stay away, just like she respectfully tells me all the time, like, "Oh, cool, you're doing NA. Have fun. Have a good meeting. And how was your meeting? Good, good." And we don't like get in each other's business when it comes to our recoveries.
It's perfect. That's exactly how it should be. If you notice that she's not doing stuff, it's definitely okay to be like, hey, are you okay? I've noticed you're like not doing any of your stuff.
Yeah,
That's okay to do.
yeah. She
But
does a
beyond
meeting every
that,
day at 9.
right. But beyond that, not your guys' business, right?
Yep.
And I think it's beautiful that it's working for you guys that way. I hope one day that if I get in a relationship, I get something similar.
Yeah, because we're both in recovery and we're both just doing it differently, which is just so it's all right with us. I just got my NA workbook in the mail the other day, so I can
Nice.
start going through my steps. I've been through the steps in AA, but it's completely different going through the steps in NA.
Yeah, they did it differently.
Like NA, you literally have a workbook that
Hmm.
you answer all the questions in, and and just like an inquiry, you have to answer all these questions and I feel like it's more intensive
It
than
is.
AA,
I've heard
and
NA's
that's what I
inventory is,
need right now.
yeah, inventory in NA is more intensive. It's along the lines of it's more intensive, like Dharma is more intensive.
Yeah,
It's
it's
broken
just like
down into more questions.
what I'm learning about now that's pretty intensive is GA.
What's Gamblers Anonymous?
Yeah, I go to them on the weekends.
Okay.
I found a Zoom meeting based out of Las Vegas because I figured if anyone can recover from gambling, it's people from Las Vegas.
No shit.
So I joined the NA group, NA GA groups on the weekends, and I'm getting a lot out of it. Part of their inventory is a financial inventory, which I know is
Beautiful.
something that should be in NA, but it's not as big of a deal in NA if you don't do a financial inventory. But in GA, it's a big deal to do that financial inventory as a step 4.
It should be. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's been cool. I haven't been going to AA a lot. I still got all my chips from AA, and I got my key tags from NA, and
I
um,
like I like Recovery Dharma's thing. They give out different things. So like I've got bracelets from them.
okay,
I have a Buddhist poetry book I got once from them. I've got a couple prayer flags that I've gotten from them. So, and then I have a couple like cards from a card deck, a Buddhist card deck that I've gotten from them. Different things they give out at different times for chips, which I think is pretty cool.
yeah,
I
that
have a
is cool.
collection of cool different shit from them, which is kind of fun.
And people can find meetings by going to recoverydharma.org.
Yes. And then if they're in Denver, they also have recoverydharmadenver.org. So I don't know if that's everywhere that has their own, place. Each place has their own Recovery Dharma website as well. Or if that's just Denver that does that.
Well, I appreciate you sitting down and talking with me, Artemis. Definitely learned a lot.
Absolutely.
And I learned some of it because Mikey never really got into AA or NA, so I never learned the stark differences or the similarities. So it was nice to hear some of the similarities and kind of you paint a good picture on how they're similar, but how they're much different. So I appreciate that, and I'm sure the viewers will too.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.